It is 3 a.m. You are staring at the ceiling, completely exhausted, but your mind is running a marathon. You are holding your phone, desperately fighting the urge to send one more text, one more paragraph explaining how much they hurt you. You are waiting for an apology. You are waiting for an explanation. You are waiting for that one conversation that will finally make things make sense. You want closure. You keep asking yourself the same question on a loop. How could the person who loved me so much in the beginning?
If you are watching this, I need you to listen to me very carefully.
Take a deep breath.
Stop looking at your phone. The apology is never coming. The closure is never coming. And the reason it's never coming is the hardest truth you will ever have to accept. The person you are waiting for does not exist. They never did. You are mourning a ghost. You are crying over an illusion. And today, we are going to look at the cold, hard psychology of exactly how that illusion was built and why you were chosen to believe it.
Let's go back to the beginning, the honeymoon phase, the love bombing. Think about how you met. Think about how fast it moved. It felt like a movie, didn't it? They liked the exact same obscure music as you. They had the same future goals. They listened to your childhood traumas with deep, intense eye contact and told you that you were different from anyone else they had ever met. They told you they had finally found their soulmate. It felt like destiny.
But it wasn't destiny, it was data collection. Toxic individuals, specifically those with high narcissistic traits, do not have a solid core identity. They have an emptiness inside them.
So, when they meet a target, someone who is highly empathetic, forgiving, and full of life, they don't present their real self, because their real self is deeply insecure and resentful.
Instead, they create what psychology calls a false self. And how do they build this false self? By mirroring you.
During those first few weeks, they were interviewing you. They were scanning your personality, figuring out your deepest insecurities, your unfulfilled desires, and the exact shape of the hole in your heart. Then, they simply morphed their personality to become the perfect puzzle piece to fit that hole. When you thought you were falling in love with a soulmate, you were actually just looking into a psychological mirror. You didn't fall in love with them.
You fell in love with a reflection of your own beautiful capacity to love.
But here is the biological reality of the false self. It takes a massive amount of psychological energy to maintain a mask. Nobody can pretend to be perfect 24 hours a day. Eventually, the mask gets heavy, and it slips. This is the exact moment your nightmare began. The sudden shift, the coldness, the day they woke up and looked at you not with love, but with annoyance. Suddenly, the quirks they used to find adorable were irritating. The affection stopped. The subtle criticisms began. Your brain went into shock. Cognitive dissonance took over.
Because you remembered the perfect person from the beginning, you automatically assumed you must have done something wrong to cause this change.
You started walking on eggshells. You changed your behavior, your clothes, the way you spoke. Desperately trying to be good enough to bring back the person from the honeymoon phase.
But you couldn't bring them back, because the person from the honeymoon phase was a character played by an actor.
The cold, dismissive, cruel person standing in front of you now, that is not a phase. That is who they actually are. They didn't change. They just stopped pretending. When the mask fell off, the psychological torture began, but it wasn't obvious. It was covert. It was the silent treatments that lasted for days because you asked a simple question. It was the constant shifting of the goalposts. No matter what you did to please them, it was never enough. It was the gaslighting, where they looked you dead in the eye and denied saying something you both know they said. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. You tried to communicate. You tried to be patient. You absorbed their anger, their coldness, and their blame. But the human nervous system can only take so much invisible abuse before it breaks. And then, one day, you snapped. You raised your voice. You cried uncontrollably. Maybe you threw something. Maybe you sent a furious, emotional text message calling them out on their lies. You lost control. And right at that exact moment, what did they do? They became perfectly calm. They looked at you, acting shocked and terrified, and said, "Look at how crazy you are acting. Look at how toxic you are. You have serious anger issues. You need help."
Listen to me right now. You are not abusive. You are not toxic. You experienced what psychology calls reactive abuse.
If you push a person into a corner, poke them, starve them of affection, and mentally twist their reality for months, eventually they will scream. They pushed you to the edge of your sanity in private, just so they could point the finger at you when you finally reacted and play the victim. They weaponized your own nervous system against you, so you would walk away carrying all the guilt.
You did not ruin the relationship. You survived a psychological setup. Forgive yourself for how you reacted when you were fighting for your sanity.
Which brings us back to where we started. 3 a.m. Waiting for an apology, waiting for closure. Why do they move on so easily? Why do they seem so happy with someone else just weeks later?
Because they don't attach to people, they attach to supply. Their false self just found a new mirror.
A new target who doesn't know who they really are behind closed doors yet. It is not an upgrade. It is just a reset of the exact same cycle.
You will never get a genuine apology from someone who believes their own lies.
If you wait for them to validate your pain, you are giving the person who broke you the power to heal you, and they won't.
Closure is not a conversation. Closure is not a final text message. Closure is an inside job. Closure is the radical acceptance that they were exactly who they showed you they were at the end, not who they pretended to be at the beginning.
You have to grieve the illusion. You have to accept that you were conned by a psychological chameleon. It hurts. It is one of the most painful realizations a human being can endure. But the moment you accept it, the invisible chain snaps.
Take your empathy back. Take your energy back. You have spent enough time trying to love a ghost into becoming a real person.
It is time to wake up, block the number, and walk out of the haunted house.
My name is Mia. You are not crazy, and you are no longer alone. Subscribe to Animind Stories, and together we will understand the darkness, so we can finally walk in the light.